So today I'll be going over my Neovim nightly build. If you don't know what Neovim nightly is, it's basically the pre-release version of Neovim, and I believe you can install it simply with whatever package manager you're running. With brew, which is for Mac OS, I would simply do brew install Neovim and add a head tag, and head basically tracks the latest version. So I already have it installed. I have it aliased to NN, which for Neovim Nightly, and let's take a look at my config file. So I have a couple of plugins here, and other than that, I have a bit of options, and then mainly LSP related stuff at the bottom. So we'll go over that in a moment, but I'm using Vim plug, obviously, and over here we have a couple plugins. So the first one I have is LSP config, which is for the native LSP client that Neovim has in the nightly version right now. So that's like one of the main reasons to be using the nightly build for the native LSP client. I also have two other plugins. These are mainly to kind of add on to the functionality of the LSP client. Completion and diagnostics configuration, which is pretty important if you want autocomplete and if you want to change your diagnostic messages. So that'd be like warnings, errors, hints, that type of thing. Vim Snippets to provide like a good collection of snippets for the languages that I'm working with. Vim Closer for kind of auto-completing braces. We'll show that in a moment when I'll take you guys through an example file. Vim Commentary to comment out lines in a file. Very important. Like I can do a go comment inside paragraph and I'll comment out the entire paragraph. Then we have Grovbox 8. This is actually an interesting choice because there are a lot of Grovbox color schemes out there. I particularly like this one because it's incredibly fast. It loads in like magnitudes faster than other Grovbox plugins. It doesn't contain as many highlight groups, but it's great for what it contains. And finally, I have startuptime.vim simply to benchmark my start times because I like to do that. So those are the plugins that I have. I'll show a demo later. Here are just options that I like. So you can like figure out what all these are by using the help pages. But this one I'd like to add because for LSP you're going to be working with the completion menu a lot, the pop-up menu, and these basically provide some good options that you should probably use if you're using the pop-up menu. So yeah, this is just like options over here, and afterward is mostly my LSP config. So this is simply just options that I have for like completion and diagnostics. I also have a format command, which will basically format a file for me. I'll demonstrate all this later when I edit a C++ file. And down here, let's go back up. So this is a Lua here doc, which is basically just running Lua code within my vimrc file. Basically what it does is just activates, it starts the LSP with both of these libraries running. So when I attach to my LSP, I want both of these to attach as well. And the way I do that is I just pass that in as a like onAttach function. So these are the four that I'm working with at the moment. I'm mostly using ClangD for a lot of my programming, which is like C++ and that family. But there should be a language service available for whichever language you're using. And kind of just make sure that you might not be able to install it using the LSP install command. I know that like it doesn't work. It only supports a couple of languages right now. But what you can do is install it separately and simply put it here and it should automatically work. Here I just have a couple of less important things, including my C++ template at the moment, which is pretty minimal. Yeah, so if you're going to use this template, I would recommend you swap out xcg data home with whatever variable you're using because it's probably not defined on your machine. So if I wanted, I could do something like, you know, home dot like nvim vim plug, right? So anything like that, whichever suits your needs. But I'm not going to use that because this works for me. And yeah, same for this. Like you might want to do something else. So choose whatever directory works for you. Other than that, let's jump into a demo of how it'll work. I create a test.cpp file here. Let's open it up. And first thing you'll notice is it loads very quickly, and we'll benchmark startup time later. The moment, let's just take a look at this file. So immediately I have diagnostics on insertion mode. It's like asynchronous. And I get some snippet completion here. I'll go with this option. And let's just include IO stream. And let's use namespace std into main. And if you notice, when I type that ending brace, it didn't immediately create the other brace, right? So if I do this again, if I hit the opening brace, it doesn't automatically complete, but when I hit enter, it does complete. So I prefer that type of functionality. And like I said, it's the 9mm Vim closer plugin that you're going to want to get for that functionality. So for now, let's just pay attention to this file. I do have a lot of capability. So for example, if I do something like vector, and if I confirm, so I hit Control Y because that's my custom confirm button, it'll actually auto import. This is like, it doesn't work for everything. For example, if I try to do like a set, it won't know what I'm talking about, right? So there's no auto import functionality yet. But I don't think we need to worry too much about that. I think what we can do for now is to try out some of the diagnostics. So let's try to input into this loop. And you kind of see how it's extremely fast at updating. Let's do cin a of I, and that was all nice and dandy. Let's say we did something like this, and let's just say we have some more unconventional type of formatting. So let's just say if n is greater than 3, we'll see out -1. Right, so if I do a format, it'll automatically format it to linting specification. So if we go back into my config file, I have that command right here, so it's going to execute it's going to actually execute a Lua command, which is loaded in the background, which is running the LSP, right? So this is all running the LSP. So yeah, that's what's happening, and it's pretty cool. So that's like good if you just need that immediately. In addition, there's quite a wide variety of errors you can get. Like if I do string s, and maybe if I set that equal to 3, like no valuable conversion from int to string, right? So I get these immediately. So if I see, like it instantly changes, and it's just very snappy. Now you can also disable this if you think it's incredibly annoying. For example, if I do something like this, you just see all these errors as I'm writing this line, right? So you can actually disable diagnostics from updating in insert mode. You can find all the options on the GitHub pages, which I'll link in the description below. So yeah, so we've gone over a couple of the features just to demonstrate that Vim closer functionality once again. If I also want to comment out this entire main method, I'll just do a gc inside paragraph. That'll do it. I can also do gc2j to just comment out up to 2 lines down. And gcc will just comment out the line. That's mainly what I'm working with right now. If I go back here, is there anything else that's important to kind of cover? Yeah, so yeah, the whole time you've been seeing this autocompletion. Like I said, it's not perfect because it doesn't do auto importing and it doesn't have a lot of the stuff, right? So if I do something like multi-set, nothing's going to show up in my autocompletion menu. This will definitely get better with time, but for now, you'll just have to like manually import stuff. So the last thing I want to do is to test the startup time. And that's simply as easy as doing startup time with the plugin. And you can see that my slowest plugins are not even plugins. They're my vimrc and my runtime files that we loaded. So the runtime files is like syntax, match parentheses, all that type of stuff. And my actual plugins, that's match, it's not even technically a plugin. Although it's like a built-in plugin. But with Grubbox, which is very fast, I would say it's like 13 times faster than some of the other plugins that I've used. And it's overall just a very seamless experience. Now if you want to actually copy this setup, it will take a bit of working with to get all the LSPs working. But just to give a word of advice, you're going to want to make sure that these are installed correctly on your computer. Once they're installed correctly, there's basically seamless integration when you actually want to use it inside Neovim. Basically, to reiterate, Neovim only provides the LSP client, which means it provides a way for LSPs to interact with Neovim. So it's not actually providing the language servers themselves, it's providing a client so that you can use external language servers, like kind of like an API. So if you guys have questions, I guess you can ask. Otherwise, see you guys next time.